If you have ever driven alone at night, on an empty highway, with nothing but your headlights guiding the way, then this video is for you. Because tonight, I'm going to tell you 4 true night drive horror stories. Stories where people left their homes for a normal drive, but came back with memories that still haunt them. Night drives are supposed to be peaceful. No traffic, no noise. Just you, the road, and the darkness ahead. But sometimes that silence hides something far more disturbing. Sometimes the road watches you back. Sometimes you're not as alone as you think. These are not stories from movies or fiction books. These are experiences shared by real people who swear that what they saw was real. Strange figures appearing out of nowhere. Voices coming from empty radios. Passengers who were never supposed to be there. Every story in this video begins with a simple drive and ends with fear that never truly goes away. So turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself. Watch till the end, because the last story is the most terrifying of all. This incident happened on a deserted American highway, a long stretch of road known for being quiet even during the day. At night, it felt completely abandoned, like the world simply ended beyond the reach of headlights. David was driving home after a late-night shift at a manufacturing plant. He was exhausted. His eyes burned from staring at machines for hours, and all he wanted was his bed. It was almost 1 a.m. The highway ahead of him was completely empty. No cars, no streetlights, just the steady hum of the engine and the soft glow of his headlights cutting through the darkness. David had driven this road hundreds of times before, but that night felt different. The air felt heavier. The silence felt unnatural. Suddenly, his headlights illuminated something directly ahead. A woman. She was standing in the middle of the highway. David's heart jumped into his throat. He slammed the brakes, the tires screeching loudly against the asphalt. The car came to a sudden stop just a few feet away from her. She didn't react. She didn't flinch. She simply stood there. The woman was wearing a long white dress that moved slightly with the cold night breeze. Her hair was long, dark, and completely covered her face. David's hands were shaking as he rolled down the window. "Are you okay?" he asked. No response. The woman slowly raised her head. Before David could see her face, she vanished. Not walked away, not ran. She simply disappeared. David froze. His heart pounded so hard he could hear it in his ears. He leaned forward, scanning the road ahead. Nothing. He checked the sides of the highway. Nothing. He looked behind him. Nothing. Trying to calm himself, David convinced himself that exhaustion was playing tricks on his mind. He took a deep breath and slowly pressed the gas pedal. As the car began to move, he glanced at the rearview mirror, and his heart stopped. The woman was sitting in the back seat. Her head was tilted unnaturally to one side. Her hair still covered her face. Her hands rested calmly on her lap. David screamed. The car swerved violently before coming to a stop on the side of the road. His vision blurred. His chest tightened. Then everything went black. The next thing David remembered was waking up in a hospital bed. Police officers stood nearby. They told him that a passing driver had found his car early in the morning, parked perfectly straight on the highway shoulder. The engine was off, the doors were locked, and the back seat was completely empty. When David described the woman, one of the officers went silent. Later, David learned the truth. Years earlier, a woman wearing a white dress had died on that exact stretch of road after being hit by a car during a late-night breakdown. David never drove that highway again. Story 2. The passenger who wasn't there. This true story comes from a remote mountain road, far away from city lights and human activity. Ahmed was driving back to the city late at night after visiting his family in a rural area. It was winter, and the temperature had dropped sharply. The road was narrow. Dense forests surrounded both sides. Fog drifted slowly between the trees. There was no mobile signal. The only sound was the crunch of tires against gravel and the whistling wind. After nearly an hour of driving, Ahmed noticed someone standing by the roadside. A man. He was wearing dark clothes and waving his hands slowly, asking for a lift. Ahmed hesitated. Stopping for strangers at night wasn't safe, but the area was remote, and leaving someone stranded in the freezing cold felt wrong. He slowed down and stopped the car. The man opened the back door and got in. He didn't say thank you. He didn't even look at Ahmed. He just sat there, perfectly still. As Ahmed drove, the silence became unbearable. He tried to start a conversation. "Where are you headed?" he asked. No reply. Ahmed glanced in the rearview mirror. The man's face looked pale, too pale. His clothes appeared damp, as if he had been standing in snow for a long time. Minutes passed. The man didn't move, didn't breathe noticeably, didn't speak. A strange chill filled the car, despite the heater being on. Ahmed checked the side mirror again. The back seat was empty. His blood ran cold. He looked again. Still empty. Ahmed's heart began racing uncontrollably. His hands tightened around the steering wheel. He didn't slow down. He didn't stop. He pressed the accelerator and drove as fast as he could until city lights finally appeared. That night, Ahmed barely slept. The next morning, he checked the back seat. There were wet footprints pressed deep into the fabric. Bare footprints. They led from the back door and disappeared in the middle of the seat. Later, locals told Ahmed that a man had died on that road years ago after freezing to death while waiting for help. Ahmed sold his car within a month. Story 3. The radio warning. This incident happened on a long Canadian highway that stretched for hundreds of miles through isolated land. Sarah was on a solo night drive around 3 a.m., heading home after visiting a friend. The road was empty and silent. She preferred driving at night. No traffic, no distractions. Her car radio was turned off. Suddenly, without warning, the radio crackled to life. Static filled the car. Then a voice spoke. "Turn back. Don't stop the car." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. She quickly turned the radio off. The silence returned. 2 minutes later, the radio turned on again. The same distorted voice said, "He is behind you?" Sarah's hands began to shake. She checked all her mirrors. There was no car behind her, no headlights, no movement. Then she heard it, a soft clicking sound. The back door handle was slowly moving up and down, as if someone outside was trying to open it. Sarah screamed and slammed the accelerator. The car sped forward, engine roaring through the empty highway. She didn't look back. She didn't slow down until she reached a brightly lit gas station miles away. Later that night, police questioned her. They told her something chilling. Just hours earlier, 3 bodies had been discovered along that same highway. All victims were drivers who had stopped late at night. Story 4. The last night drive, most terrifying. This final story belongs to a long-haul truck driver named Michael. Michael had spent over 20 years driving at night. Dark roads didn't scare him. Or so he thought. One night, while transporting cargo across state lines, Michael noticed a car behind him. At first, he ignored it, but after nearly an hour, the car was still there. No matter how fast he drove or how slow he went, the car stayed the same distance behind. Michael pulled over at a rest stop. The car vanished. Confused, he checked his truck's dash cam footage. What he saw froze his blood. There was someone sitting in the backseat of his truck, a pale face, unblinking eyes, staring directly into the camera. Michael quit night driving forever after that night.